Alright, so so in this video I'm just gonna be explaining something, and it is that everybody of the world, ultimately their end thing is that they're gonna become slaves to Jacob or to serve Jacob, and some of them already have served Jacob, and they have already fulfilled even part of this verse of this chapter, Isaiah 60. So Isaiah 60 is saying the Gentiles shall come to the light, kings to the brightness of that rising. It is talking about the real children of Israel. So it says, the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and the kings shall minister unto thee. All right. In the nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish. Those nations shall be wasted. Okay. And it's saying that this is Israel in verse 14. Right? So I want to explain something before you think that, okay, this is saying of one race, like white people or black people, because it's not saying white people or black people. All right? Except those that are cleaving onto whatever is Israel. Okay? From the beginning, the world already had slaves, and there were slave masters. All right. And actually Jacob in the Bible was not really a slave. He was a slave master, but it was actually out of negative situations where Jacob became a servant or a slave or a prisoner. Okay. So the thing is that the opposite of what would be the blessed part of Israel would be the curses, and the curses of Genesis. No, not Genesis. Oh, what's it called? See, curses of Deuteronomy 28. All right. These are the, well, there's the blessings and then there's the curses. But the curses are not what God wanted to give to Israel, to proclaim a curse on them. So, see, the people that cleave unto the curses and want to fit the curses are those, who would be of the children of Israel and others. But these curses are not good, all right? But, see, because in the end, God is going to separate those who are even from the same family, all right, but are different. Some will be blessed, some will be cursed, but so those who are leading on the side of curse are the Hamitic people, who suffer pretty much all of that, because in Genesis 9, there was a curse proclaimed on Canaan and his children. And the truth is that the Israelites, they mixed with the Canaanites. All right. And they didn't really have any problem with it. It didn't mean that they were all, let's say, genetically of Cain, of Satan, of the devil, as Canaanites, like you might think, because Canaan was always given that negative connotation as the enemies that were in the land of Israel before Israel was there, and they had some of the Nephilim there, but the Apocrypha, the Pseudepigrapha or whatever, it explained it a lot more. Okay. Explains the backstories behind these stories. So you'll see that the Babylonian thing was a Hamitic empire, and then it was all this rebellion with the Hamitic people choosing Babylon, choosing that over to go against the Japhet. But yeah, honestly, like there was always slaves, like it was throughout the book, like it's like this book, like I could just flip through it, and you'll find plenty of points where there were slaves involved. So the fact that people think think it was so like horrible. Well, you can judge the people that did black slavery, which is the whatever Anglo-American, the Anglo-Saxon or whatever people, as a bad people that must have taken advantage of the children of Jacob, right? You could say that, but it doesn't make it it doesn't line up to now that when you flip through verses, now you're finding everything that's black to be Israel. Okay, so for example, Isaiah 28. Let's see. Can you say? Can you really say? That there wasn't racism, even with this tribe of Ephraim. That it says that they're a crown of pride, which rule over Jerusalem. So let's go down to it. Let's see. Yeah, ye scornful people that rule Jerusalem. That's what he called them. Going up to the top is the tribe of Ephraim. All right. But this same people is similar to that of probably Latino and white race. Okay. And there's even a racist chapter in the Bible which I could find for you if you let me find it. Where the people of the tribe of Ephraim, they basically wanted to get the credit of destroying an enemy nation. Okay. And so they were jealous of the Gileadites, which is where apparently Elijah in the Bible was a Gileadite, right? So they went against the children of Ammon. The children of Ammon are modern day Syrians. All right. So think of it. So Ephraim is, let's say, represented Hispanics. Let's say the Hispanics were Ephraim. Okay. And Manasseh was like the South American Hispanics. Okay. And what's it called? And the more European kind of Hispanics. And Jephthah said unto them, I and my people were at great strife with the children of Ammon. When I called you, deliver me not out of their hands. And when I saw that ye delivered me not, I put my life in my hands and passed over against the children of Ammon. And the Lord delivered them in my hands. Wherefore then ye come up unto me this day to fight against me. Then Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. And the men of Gilead smote Ephraim, because they said, ye Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites and among the Manassites. All right. So like this Ephraim is like kind of like them who are more leaning on the European side, and the Gileadites are more I'm saying not all of the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh, but they're calling them fugitives. Okay. Right. But they were actually the ones that fought against him. It's very similar to probably who you would think is probably taking credit for what is happening in America, right? Like probably like the Trump supporters would be representing Ephraim, and then the what's it called? You know, the backbone to, you know, America, and the what's it called, like really more American, and you know, people that have knowledge and stuff like that, that know their race, are more like, you know, are kind of like the Gileadites. So the Ephraimites, they want their credit, but they don't want to actually put their hand to work for it. You know what I'm saying? So they end up getting into their little war. Now, a lot of the reason why this tribe of Ephraim was suffering is because they didn't want to serve God. All right, but they wanted to serve other gods. So you go here, you know, and it says that they have begotten strange children. So back then, their issue was that they were mixing with the foreign nations. But the tribe of Judah was doing the same thing, because God was already judging them a long time ago with a similar thing. But they didn't want to serve Judah, if you remember in the Bible. They didn't want to serve Judah. All right, and or you know, they didn't want to serve like, you know, Judah and Israel, I should say. Right. So then what happened is that they will have a different what's it called, king, a different god. So they would serve in Assyria. They'll go to Assyria instead. Right. Right. So that they shall not dwell in the Lord's land. Okay, so it's like the slave concept, right, is really boiling down to like one's will to, like, you know, who they really want to serve. And it's going back to like a Genesis 9 thing, right, where some people will serve, like Japheth will serve Shem, and you know, Shem serves God, and you know, Canaan will serve Japheth and Shem. You know, like a slave thing. Some people, like, they don't want certain people ruling. You know, they don't want you know, they want to be recognized for their work. So Canaan always you know what I'm saying, in the rebellion, in the choosing to live in you know, lands that doesn't belong to him, it forces him to be a slave. So there's a video that I didn't yet upload, but I will probably, and it's stating that, you know, it's very possible that the Native Americans could be the First Nations, Hamitic, and Canaan, and that most of the Israelites, they mixed with the Canaanites. So as a result, right, most of the Hispanic people will become slaves as well. They will fall under the Canaan curse, and most of the Israelites in general will fall under the Canaan curse in some kind of way. So they would either be always serving an idol god, or serving another person in their god, and it's like their relationship with God will be always dependent on whatever Jacob is doing, whatever Shem and you know, whatever the other people decide. It's like they have a master before they have the you know, the top master, the way I see it. Okay, it's like they always have to report back to a king. So you'll see that with some of the Spanish people, and sort of like, you know, in America, that they feel a compulsion to now defend people like Donald Trump. All right, so that is their slave blood rising up. What's it called? Yeah, it's that Canaanite blood. What's it called? Rising up in the people. Okay. So, and I mean, this is something that you won't even like think of it that way, but it's real. It's the reality. All right. So there's a lot of like Trump supporters of the Latino race, but it's okay if you support him. But what my point is that most of what the white people, the insults that they use against some of the left, like calling them like you know whatever, like being a bitch or being a cuck, right? That actually applies to what the Canaanites would be doing. Is that you would support Trump, you know what I'm saying, or like you would support your enemy, like you would. And in a way, it's like you know, it'll always show up in um, it would always show up in your actions. Like you can't hide it. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, you'll always know your master. Your master will be shown through how you act and stuff like that. So their master is the what's it called? Um, First, it's gonna be Japheth. You know what I'm saying? But Japheth responds to Shem. Okay, so a lot of some of them, a lot of them uh, have the Canaanite soul. Okay, but some don't, and really, it's both on that Jewish side and not the Jewish side. It's like, um, like all like pretty much all the natives of all the different races. Um, I think of all the islands and of the Americas, Canaan is my question. If they had that ancient black bloodline that they claim is like Israel, the Hebrew Israelites, in the what's it called, all kind of native kind of people that think that they're native people, but they're not. Excuse me. I think that they're Canaanites, all right? And that's why, like, it can show up in a lot of the different actions that people choose, whether it's religion, or whatever, that shows that they serve a man before they serve God. They serve the Catholic Church before they serve God. So that's the reason why there's a lot of look at that Catholics for Trump. This is the reason why I said that. I say that because Catholicism, for example, it you have to go to the Father. You have to someone else, before you go to God, and that represents what the Canaanites are under. You have to pass through another man anyway, like what I'm saying, you have to have another man, like that you're listening to, submitting to. And the word servant in the Bible, which is in the Hebrew word, is Abaddon. You know what I'm saying? Which is also the name of the beast of the bottomless pit. Okay, so a servant is Abaddon. So to let you know the kind of like probably the beast of the bottomless pit. Let's say there was these different antichrist figures or spirits, devil figures, devil spirits, right? The servant one, you know what I'm saying, has to do with it has to do with like for example, the name Obadiah as well, which is exposing Esau, is that name or originates with the word servant. Okay, that name Abdullah as well. All right, so a slave, a servant, Abed. All right, um, there's a name. There's someone in the name, or maybe it's what's it called? Yeah, it's a biblical name which means a servant of Edom, Obed Edom. All right. It's funny that it's not Obed anyone else, but it's a servant of Edom, which would probably best describe what Hispanic people are. Is that in their will to want to serve or please somebody else, they would be servants of Edom, which is the white and the Jewish people. Okay. And I'm pretty sure this is the reason why this name is even included in the Bible, because it's for a reason. The other name, Abaddon, is in the Bible too. But yeah, I'm giving you this, I'm tying it all together because of the slave effect. So, it is, for example, very much affecting those who mix with the Canaanites, the tribe of Ephraim, Hispanic people. So this is why these people, they are definitely, the Israelites of the Bible, they mix with Canaanites. And this, the effect is, you'll see the real Obed Edom effect is really, being a slave of the white man, while trying to not be a slave of the white man, or while trying to stand for something, you end up standing for another cause, which is not even yours. This is that water washed down effect that we're seeing, that we're none of the 12 tribes of Israel reflect what they usually were, what they originally were. And the people in Israel today, they took over the land in the name, and they are the leaders, the masters of pretty much every people. Okay. And that is through control of America. So outside of the control of America pretty much influences everything. Okay, so everyone has their own master corporation or whatever that they are serving before they are serving God. So the slave, right, will always acknowledge his master, right? This is what is affecting all of the Canaanite people to worship the other races, whatever. All right, bye.